Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing the best and worst of clean concealers. I'm going to share with you guys what's worth their money and what's definitely not. So if you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy at any point. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in today's best and worst video. So I'll be going one by one, starting with the best and then following it with the worst, going back and forth. So my first favorite clean concealer is the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. I've gone through multiples of these. Now this is a concealer that's thinner. It is very true to the name. It's serum-like. It has a medium buildable coverage. If you like something that's not too heavy, you would love this because it's super thin on the skin. I like this for both under the eyes and blemishes, but it's my personal favorite for blemishes. I like to apply it and then I recommend letting it sit because the coverage does get a lot better once it's exposed to a little bit of air, and it just blends beautifully. It does not cling to dry patches or make acne look worse, which I think is what makes it such a great spot concealer or an under eye concealer. Really, I enjoy it both ways, but spot concealing is definitely my favorite. I think this is a great concealer. I always have it on hand. I use a couple different shades. This one is SC 0.5, which is my lighter shade for under the eyes. It's actually empty. Then I have a deeper one for spot concealing. Definitely recommend that one. My first worst of the day is one that I had recently tried back in April, I believe. This is the Saint Cosmetics. I'm not sure the name of it. It's just their concealer. I do like the packaging, but this unfortunately did not work for me at all under my eyes. And I don't think it's the best for blemishes either. I forgot to show you guys what the Ilia one looks like. The Ilia one has this sort of flat tip applicator, which I love. I feel like it applies concealer so evenly and smoothly. You can barely tell because it's basically empty, but this is like one of my favorite applicators. Amazing. Anyway, this one has like just like a very typical little doe foot, and the shade is just way off on me. It's like a weird peachy undertone, even though I'm not sure I ordered it peachy, and it just has like a weird thinner consistency. I found this really settled into fine lines and just made my under eyes look bad, and it wasn't the best on blemishes. So for me, for the price, it's a pass. Even if it was cheaper, I just don't think it's a good concealer, and there's definitely better options. Moving right along to my next best, which is probably my #1 pick. This is the Cover FX Power Play. If you watch my videos, you know I absolutely love this and use it basically every time I do my makeup. Love it for under the eyes. It also works great on blemishes. This would be more if you're into like the typical conventional concealer feel. It just works beautifully under the eyes. It's more of a medium weight consistency as compared to the Ilia. This one's a lot thinner, more of a medium weight, but I don't find that it creases too much. It gives a really nice medium to fuller coverage that you could really build up. Like this is just more of a heavy duty type of concealer if you have more to cover or if you just prefer that formula. Love, love, love this. It's on sale at Sephora right now. If you haven't picked it up, it's 15 bucks, half off, which is really cool. I have multiple shades. I have the white. This is G Light 1. I also use N Light 1 depending on the tone I'm feeling. Sometimes I mix all three of them. So yeah, this is just such a staple for me. And the applicator on this one is like this funny little like short stubby doe foot with a like ball tip at the end, which like I don't know, I'm not like crazy about the applicator, but I do like how it's like a compact little concealer. It dispenses a lot of products, so you definitely don't have to like keep dipping back in, and it does get the concealer on nicely. It's just like not as precise, but personally for me, I don't find that to be a negative. My next worst is funny because this used to be my favorite concealer back when there was like only a couple concealers, clean concealers on the market. This was one of the first clean products I tried. I believe it's the Cloven Hollow Conceal and Perfect, I think. This is the shade 02. With the options that are out there now, like I wouldn't recommend this one. It has again just like a standard doe foot. It's really like rough on the skin, and I feel like you have to keep dipping back in to apply the product. It's definitely not like the absolute worst, but for me it's not something I'm going to repurchase again. It tends to sink into lines a little bit and the coverage is not totally there. It's like a lighter medium. It's really funny. I used to absolutely love this, but oh how the times have changed. Definitely not my favorite, and I think there's better options for your money. My next best is actually something that really surprised me. This is from the CoverGirl Clean Fresh line, which is their vegan cleaner beauty. I do have a CoverGirl Clean line. That's not the same as the Clean Fresh line. I know that can get a little bit confusing. I do have a video on the rest of the products that they carry, and this I had recently picked up because they added some more stuff to the collection. I was really interested in trying it, and it's really nice. It's more of a lighter coverage concealer, but I use this under my eyes today and it like has not creased. It looks so beautiful and really skin-like. This is like if you're that no makeup type of person, or if you like something really quick that's just like always gonna look good, I would recommend this one. The doe foot is not my favorite. It's one of those like just rough little doe foot things, but the formula is very thin and it is hydrating. It says it's a hydrating concealer, so it's not very thick. It's not going to accentuate anything. Would be great if you have some acne or acne scarring going on and you just want something that looks a little more fresh. Really enjoying this one, and it took me by surprise because I wasn't a huge fan of the rest of the stuff in the line, but I have been liking this. Next worst is the Han Cosmetics Skincare Concealer. The shade range on this is very bad and the formula on this is just so thick and oily. If you guys have ever tried this, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a very emollient type of concealer and it just tends to crease up under the eyes because it is so emollient. If you have very dry skin, this could possibly work, but again, the shade range is very limited, so that's why I wouldn't recommend it. And I think there's better options. So this I haven't reached for in the longest time, and it's not my favorite. It's actually my least favorite. It's the point of this video. So I only have 2 best left and I have a couple more worst, so I'm gonna do one more. My next worst is, this is Clean at Sephora verified, I believe. I know it's not super clean, but I just wanted to include it to share my thoughts in case you guys were curious. Milk Makeup Flex Concealer. This didn't work for me. I've heard that people like this. Creased under the eyes, did not look good on blemishes either. It's just like, the formula just feels like very cheap to me. I don't know if that's like a good descriptive word, but it's thin in almost a bad way. It doesn't give me a ton of coverage. I don't feel like it flexes with creases. I feel like it literally just sinks into lines and stays there. Pass for me. My last best is the Kosas Revealer. Personally, this isn't my absolute favorite for under the eyes. I prefer it mostly on the face. It has a really good amount of coverage and like this hydrating type of like juiciness to it. Another great applicator. It's like the Ilia one where it picks up a lot of product. The pigment is really there with this one, which I enjoy about it. It does look decent under the eyes if I really set it, but it just tends to crease a little bit on me, so I always go in with the Cover FX one instead. The shade range on this seems to run a little yellow, so you might have a hard time finding a shade, which is really disappointing. I hope they work on that in the future, but formula wise, I do really think it's a great clean concealer option. So that's it for the little Kosas Revealer. I was also going to mention the Hellofab Bendy Avocado Concealer is one of my best because this is another thin one that looks really nice, but the shade range on this is really bad. I had not realized that when I purchased it. I hope they do expand on the shade range because it's a good formula, but that will not be included in my best. And my last worst is the Pacifica Liquid Cover. Now this probably is like not the absolute worst that I've tried. It's pretty decent on blemishes, but my problem is when it comes to the under eyes. It's just another one that's thicker and it's just more emollient, so it sinks right into lines. I just can't really get this to work for me. Even if I set it, out of all of the worst, it's probably one of the best worst, if that makes sense. It's getting kind of confusing, but hopefully you know what I'm saying. It's not the worst, but I would recommend other things over it. The shades of these concealers are very off. What is that? Alright guys, that was it for my best and worst clean concealer video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you haven't already, I would love for you to join me. But thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.